Hey folks, it's Rob Flux here with another real deal in the field, and here with one of my students, Chris, at his block in Capalaba, where we've got a 1:3. Mate, this is a pretty interesting deal in a whole bunch of ways. Firstly, how did you come across the deal?
Yeah, sure. So I had an agent bring this one to us off market. It was an agent I had been dealing with on another property. He gave me a call. I quickly checked my hot list and saw that it was one of the properties on our list. Got out here as he was putting the sign in the front nature strip and told him to take it down and put a contract on it that day.
Very good. Now, when you say on the hot list, mate, we go through a process teaching you guys, I guess, to do a 10-minute check on every single property that match all your criteria. So you'd already gone and done your checks on this, and you knew that this was the deal that you actually wanted to reach out to anyway. And it's just come to market, right place, right time, good relationships, being an area expert, folks, and that's what it's all about. So now, I think you mentioned that this is actually a deceased estate. So whilst it came to market pretty quick, what was it that you were able to offer, I guess, in a situation where a deceased estate, that could be all sorts of things. Some people getting greedy, some people just want to get out of there. What did you identify was the need for these guys?
Oh, look, the house had about 50 years worth of belongings in there, including a cat from the previous owner. They wanted, an easy transaction and a quick transaction. So obviously our terms were quick. It dealt with not having to leave it completely vacant and empty, but it had our price, so it had what we were looking to achieve out of the purchase.
So for them, it allowed them to get out of the deal as quickly and seamlessly as possible. Emotions were running high, that sort of thing, and you dealt with all the issues and challenges. So what did you do with the cat?
Called the council. You have to bring the cat to the pound these days. And what happened to it afterwards, I'm not involved with.
Okay, so cat's got a new home, folks.
Yeah, it's happy life.
Happy life, I'm sure of it. Mate, tell us about the deal. What can we actually achieve out of this? Because I remember this one, we had a few bumps on this one along the way.
Yeah, a couple of bumps and a few battle scars from this one. So it's a 1,900 metre block here in Redland City Council. It's low density residential, so ultimately it's got a 23.5 metre frontage, but it could have been a 4-lot subdivision. It does have a fairly significant, spoke about how to go past, a fairly significant slope, so 3 metres front to back. So stormwater was obviously the key issue here, and the key hurdle that took us this long to get to this point as well.
And we'll talk to the stormwater. I guess we'll go and have a look at this out the back, but because it slopes to the rear, we had a couple of challenges that we needed to deal with during the due diligence phase. You did actually go to council under due diligence and say, look, if we can't get access through the rear neighbour, is there a plan B? So how did that little story play out, mate?
Yeah, look, we went to council with a number of options. Obviously, our preference and theirs was to get a lawful point of discharge the next street over into council infrastructure. We did have a pre-lodgement meeting, as you mentioned, where we basically said, look, if we can't get that, what would you consider? Rubble pits and detention tanks were discussed. At that point, both the engineer on our side and on their side were both supportive, and we had that verbally confirmed. Unfortunately for us, when the minutes came out from council, it didn't say the same thing, and they had backtracked on that one, which is obviously their right to do so. However, it left us a little bit high and dry in terms of not having a stormwater solution, and I guess forced us back to talking to the rear neighbours to get that outcome. Yeah,
well, and it's important, firstly, to say, have your pre-lodgement meetings with councils and always make sure that the minutes follow up actually match what was happened. So unfortunately that didn't quite, you did the right thing, but the outcome didn't quite kind of go to plan. So you've done that well. But the other thing that was really fortunate is you played a plan A, a plan B and a plan C on this particular one. So plan A, obviously, is if you can, I guess, get access through the rear neighbours. And we can talk about that story when we get down the back. But plan B was the rubble pit, and plan C, just do a reno and keep the house.
Correct. Yeah.
So I guess it's they bought well enough. So Chris and your brother John, bought well enough that Plan C, even if we couldn't get the sewer and stormwater access out the back, meant that there was still money in the deal. So now you've bought well here, mate, 730K.
Yep.
So when you carve up the existing house, you're doing a very minor reno on it. What are you going to get just for the house alone all by itself?
So in the current market, we're expecting to get 750 for the house just on its own.
which means free block of land at the back, folks. So you've got 2 extra lots out of that. So nice little tidy profit's going to come out of this, about the 450 odd K, give or take.
Thereabouts,
so not a bad day, folks, when things aren't going to plan and you still get an outcome like that. So what we're going to do, folks, we're going to go out the back. We're going to have a look at some of the issues and challenges with regards to sloping blocks towards the rear. So come with us and we'll show you how to get that done. So here we are out the back, and as you can see, we're at the bottom of the property, and you can see that it's sloping a long way towards us. You managed to get 2 blocks at the back here. You commented on the fact that you could have actually got 4 blocks in total. So 4 if you knock the house down, and 3 if you kept the house. Correct. So why did you choose to keep the house firstly?
Look, the first option that we were looking at was obviously to knock the house. Once we'd emptied out all the belongings, had a good look at it, actually had very good bones. It was a strong, hardwood frame house, and plenty of storage with side access on the side as well. And we could see some value in keeping it. Plus, we needed to put some tenants in it to keep the holding costs down whilst we negotiate the stormwater.
So absolutely. So now that took a little while to negotiate the stormwater. So sloping block, typically you want to try and avoid those where humanly possible, because gravity, you want to get to the street if you can. However, if you can't, I guess the tactic here is to go in with a bottle of red and a bottle of white with the rear neighbours. And in this instance, we've had 2 neighbours, one this side and one this side, but you could actually go negotiate. So you've gone into the 2 neighbours.
Yep.
So how many bottles did it actually cost you in the end, mate?
How many bottles? A couple of truckloads. So no, it did cost us quite a bit, and I guess came up to 40,000 to get the stormwater pipe through. But as we ran the numbers and checked the feasibility, we knew that there was plenty of money in the deal. So it was either get the stormwater pipe through or renovate the house and exit. So
and it's a pretty important thing to say, folks. 40,000 is a lot of money in order to pay for access to get through somebody's rear property. But you've got to remember you're impacting their life, you're digging up all their world, in this instance, giving an easement over their property and all sorts of things like that. So you've got to look at it rather than emotionally going, oh, I want to get it for the best price humanly possible, which we always do, but we've got to look at it as a pure numbers and go, if I paid X amount, would the deal still make sense? In this instance, at 40K, you're still walking away with 450 odd K, so it's not a bad day at the office, mate. So now, the interesting solution, there's an easy path and a hard path to get through. So whilst they've agreed to let you through in the property, there's a nice easy path that goes down the side of the house, which is the obvious one to go through. Why didn't they let you go down the easy way, mate?
So obviously, that was our preference as well. There's a grassed area with a straight line straight to the street. They've got a fairly mature leopard tree that provides shade to their property. They were concerned that we would, by putting the pipe through and excavating, damage that tree, and that it was, I guess, hard to give them assurance that we wouldn't damage it now or in the future. So that was our preferred path. We used that in each of our meetings to begin the discussions, and it was only on the very last meeting where I looked over to the other side of the property, which has a existing granny flat on it, and basically said, look, if we were to tunnel bore under that granny flat and dig up your driveway, would that be an option? Thinking that it wouldn't be. And that was their actual preferred the entire time.
There you go. So the hard path is sometimes the easiest path. So now if you just pan over that way, you'll see the granny flat that had to navigate underneath. So that was tunnel bored under. So that uses what they call vacuum excavation, where little vacuum pump sucks the dirt out and allows you to actually dig underneath the property, get the pipe under. So to tear up the granny flat at all, mate?
No. So basically, we removed that existing driveway. They dig a trench on one side, start the bore, go out to the exit pit, then basically drag it back through, get all the dirt out, and install the pipe. And it was actually quite a simple, whilst it was a bit nerve-wracking, and it sounded quite a difficult process. It's probably the most simple part of the whole thing. It was over in about a couple of days.
Yeah, very good, mate. Still a little way to go to get your plan sealing and titles and that sort of thing. So how long until payday?
Look, probably September this year. So it's obviously been a little while, this one, but we're tracking now, and we're looking to lodge next month with Plant Ceiling.
Very good. And you've got a couple of other deals on the go?
We do, yeah. So we've got one over in Bayside, Brisbane, which recently got finished, which we're still trying to sell one of the blocks at the moment. We've got a couple others in the pipeline that we're looking to negotiate and get under contract.
Very good. So if you were going to give our audience one parting gift, one lesson learned, what would you say that the one big lesson out of this deal?
The one big lesson, there's quite a few, which I'll save a few for the Saturday session in a few months. But I guess the big one is to ask better questions when you're speaking with neighbours. Make sure you explore all options and all possibilities before you rule a line through it, because there may be a solution there that you're not seeing or that you haven't actually verbalised. So ask better questions.
Very good, mate. Can't wait to see the full story at one of our upcoming events. So if you want to see the full real deal, come and see Chris and his brother John, I guess, present this deal in a couple of months' time at our Brisbane-based meetup. But we run these meetups all the way around the country, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide. So no matter where you are, you can either turn up physically or live stream anywhere around the country. So, mate, congratulations.
Thank you.
Cracking deal.
Thank you.
Can't wait to help you spend the cash.
Absolutely. Thank you.
See you, folks.
Cheers, guys.